Part Georgian and part Victorian, Dumfries holds dear the memories of Robert Burns, who spent his last 5 years here. The High Street is flanked by colour-washed Georgian houses which curve around mid-steeple, built as a courthouse in 1708. There's a statue of Robbie Burns, and the county hall is now a store. Bonnie Prince Charlie lodged here in 1745 on his march to Derby. Well, it was down this street in 1306 that Robert the Bruce killed the English sympathiser John Comyn. Oh dear, June's lost her way on the town walk.
This is what I like to see.
House left in Dumfries. This was built back in 1660. I'll start again. I've got another couple of
Right, okay.
Good morning. You welcome to Brad. Where are you from?
Toronto.
Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
Very welcome. Right. Well, welcome to the oldest surviving house in Dumfries. This house was built back in 1660, and it was a cooper's house, a barrel maker's house.
Yes.
But by the 18th century, the house had become an inn, and it would have been visited by Robert Burns, who was the local excise officer at the time.
Looks very small.
It's bigger than inside.
It is bigger than it looks.
After being an inn, the house reverted back to being a private house, and it was lived in right through to 1959, becoming a museum in 1960. So there are very few objects in here belong to this house. These are all museum pieces. I think we'll do the opposite of what we normally do. We'll start off downstairs, because I've just been cleaning the floors upstairs. Then we look downstairs, the floors will be dry. So please build him.
Is it? Oh, there's a basement in it.
There's a table downstairs.
Now, this hilltop complex, based on an observatory founded in the 18th century, was an old windmill, and this now includes a camera obscura, which on sunny days provides a view of a wide stretch of town and countryside. We'll be going up there and you'll get a commentary from the guide, although the day wasn't bright sunshine. The museum covers all periods of local history, from the first farmers who arrived 6,000 years ago, through the Celts and the Vikings to generations of Dumfries craftsmen, notably silversmiths. The most unusual exhibit is a model warship made from wood and soup bones by French officers captured during the Napoleonic Wars and paroled in Dumfries. Now, I tried my very best to film this, but unfortunately it was in store due to another exhibition from Denmark taking place, and no way were they going to let me go in the store for security reasons just to film that model warship. Never mind, the birds look nice. Well, a little story behind the children here. They were supposed to be going on a coach trip from Dumfries to somewhere or other, but the coach didn't turn up, so they visited this museum complex instead. Some nice views of Dumfries now as we go up the top of this old windmill, which is now the Camera Obscura. We're getting a private showing, and I hope you'll be able to understand what a Camera Obscura is all about by listening to what the guide has to say. While you're talking. I've seen one of these before, but June hasn't.
Oh no, is it this one you saw?
Edinburgh.
Ah, well, they're amazing things. They do need a good day, the best picture in a nice bright day. First thing I have to point out to you is the more mundane stuff, such as the emergency exit is actually the way you came up. Right. So that's my air stewardess bit done. And now I can draw your attention to the workings of the table if you're interested. We now have floodlit floor, and we can see the underneath of the table, and this acts as our focusing mechanism. As the table is raised and lowered, you see there's a counterweight down there. And that's how it sits firmly a bit. This is the idea. I think going in Edinburgh, I think it's focused in a different way. I'm not quite sure. They're all quite different.
Be more interesting than this then.
Well, I think it is. Well, it's older, which makes it more interesting, as well as concerned.
Yes.
But they work on the same principle. You've probably been told the principle by your husband.
No, I haven't been told.
You haven't told anything?
No,
Right,
not
okay.
yet.
Well, it's like being inside a giant camera, in effect. You need a very dark chamber, a small opening for the light to come in. So we have a shutter at the top of the turret up there. So if we open the shutter, the light comes in, it hits a mirror, which is reflected down through a lens onto here. Just like a camera, mirrors the body of it, you can imagine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, get going, then you'll see what I mean. That's all I want. Right, a bit. There we are. It's not very confusing, is it? Let's get my system working correctly. Turn those off, it's very dark. Oh, a bit too dark. Okay. I'll let some light in at the top just now. We'll open the shutters to begin with, which is this one here. There, out of the way. And now I need to raise up the mirror to let the light that's coming in actually come down onto the screen. So a minute the mirror's lying flat and it's blocking the light. So up goes the mirror. There. And somewhere, if you look at the table, we'll get the gate. There we are. That's the mirror. So now we'll turn those off. That's it. And then we are looking at the outside world and busy the gate. And to look around the town, we simply tip the mirror. Oh, somebody's.
That's very caught on candy, can you?
We tip the mirror and that takes us further away. But as we go further away, you see the focus goes out. So in order to counteract that, we do that kind of thing. Just center the traffic lights. There we are. This is Trickwheel Road going away from us in the distance. And what we're going to do is follow that silver car and go along Pleasance Avenue. We did that by rotating the turret. And it takes us along.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it's excellent. It's not bad. just about see, you see very faint, there's a hill there. Very,
Yes.
very faint. That's Skiddaw, that's in the Lake District, that's about 60
Oh,
miles.
right.
So we're doing pretty well there. I will just wander on. I'll mention a few buildings as we go. This is Donald's chimney. Donald is one of the museum attendants, and he's currently having work on his house done. So they're dismantling his chimney stack as we speak.
Right.
Yes. He'll be delighted they turned up again after about 3 months. They've been off on their holidays or something. Now they're back. So work is continuing. That's wonderful. Right. So we'll wander on past the what used to be the walls in knitwear factory, but nowadays it's a veterinary supplies company called Dumfries.
Yes.
It's being used, which is nice, and we reuse old buildings. Just wander on. Now we can look here across the Solway. It's a wee bit hazy across there, so we can't see too many exciting things. But if it was clearer, we'd see the mountains in the Lake District all the way along. Just see there's something.
Yes, there's a shadow. Yes.
Yeah, look.
Yes.
It's raining as it normally is across there, of course.
Yes.
And looking down the river Nith, you see it wanders across there, comes through the fields, and then opens out to the Solway. And on the east bank, so about 7 miles from Dumfries, there's a wee village called Glencaple, which used to be a very big port in its day, hundreds of years ago. This area was hugely important for shipping. And at Glencaple was a notorious mode of transport called the Glencaple horse bus. Now, horse buses were quite common in about 1900 with no cars.
Yes.
But this particular one was run by 2 families who were very much opposed to each other. They had a real vendetta, the Fishers and the Clarks. And it wasn't uncommon for one driver to leave his vehicle and start brawling with the other in the street while the passengers looked on. And if the passengers were very unfortunate, they got whipped out of one carriage and into another. So this went on part of the last century.
So things haven't changed very much, have they? It's taxi drivers now.
Up and down.
Yes, it's in real.
That's the miracle, up and down.
Wonderful. It's so clever.
It's clever, but it's very simple. And, this has been here since 1836, so we're talking, and it's made in 1430.
Oh, wonderful, isn't it?
And it replaced an older bridge there, built around 1280.
Oh, gosh.
And it's a wonderful thing. And I'll just move on, you can see the water flowing here, which probably is the best bit to sort of...
Yes.
So keep it
You've
still.
seen that. Have you seen that this morning?
Yes?
Yes, we've seen that
we
this
walked all
morning.
along
Yes.
there.
Well, that's known as the CAUL, or the call. It's a local name for like a weir. And that was a man-made feature to drive the water for the mill, which sits nearby, which is now the Burns Centre.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. So that's what that's all about. And there's a salmon ladder at the side of it that comes down in steps.
There's a bridge here that you cross.
Yes,
When we
that's
went
the
across it, and this water is so still, it just looks like a sheet of glass. And I went to look over and I said, oh no, I can't look at that. I just could not look at it. I said, it's even worse than moving water. I don't like moving water very much, but that was horrendous.
Really?
Just to see it,
Yes.
as if you could touch it, jump on it and nothing would happen.
I think you get wet, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I think I'd drown.
It's actually not that deep there, I don't think.
Look.
And even better, if I can get this thing off here, all mod cons, you can even, it's what happens, the traffic always stops, so you can catch a car and carry it along, catch a wee vow with a seagull. Do have a go.
It's going to be funny.
And then you can pick one up and wander along with it, and then you take it right off the edge of the table if you're lucky. So as long as they keep moving, I think they will. That's right, drop it down and hit the focus better. Now, and on you go, or you can tip him off, or you can keep him going, and you can take him way off the edge there. So,
There we go.
see if you can catch this red one as it comes to the end.
Oh.
You keep it right off the end and take him along and see how far you can take him. You'll be amazed. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
It stopped. Ah.
Up here. That was built in 1868 as well. Another lovely church. I haven't been in that one yet, but we'll have to go and have a look. It's nice to say to folk what it's like inside, but I'm told it's beautiful. I'm sure it is. Behind is Dumfries Academy, the long building including the square bit there.
Oh, yes,
This is all part of
yes.
the same thing.
Yes.
Some famous folk went to that school. J.M. Barrie,
Oh,
Peter
yes.
Pan,
Yes.
John Laurie from Dad's Army.
Yes.
And some of Burns's children went there for free. Well, when it was an older school,
Yes.
a grammar school then, and they got free education because he was a free man of the borough. So it does have its perks after all. The Tourist Information Centre is that building just there, which is useful. Burns' first home in the town was just here, above the wee canopy. That was his wee flat. Then he moved on to Burns House, which is another building in the town, which is worth a look if you're interested.
Yes.
There's no charge to go in Burns House.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going there.
Yes, and you can visit the mausoleum too, which is just nearby to the house. So we'll just wander on. Here comes the mid-steeple up here. That was built in 1707. Another lovely building. It's always a centrepiece of the town. It was first sort of steeple, if you like. And it was a jail at one time, and various things went on there. And there's a lovely relief map on the wall of that building of the town in 1707 or 1790. It's carved out of stone. It's lovely, actually. It's really pretty. So if you're on the main street, you'll come across the mid-steeple, no doubt. So we'll wander on. There's the Station Hotel up there. That's the railway station.
Yes.
This is the job centre, so we'll brush on past that. It's nice to look at the older buildings, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But as soon as you see a new one set them up, all this old, and I suppose it's out of place.
Well, it is, I know. With some of them, they've at least done the colour.
Yes.
The stone is sandstone. So
That's right. An actor before that.
Well, if you visit the wee Bridge House Museum, I don't know if you've already been there, on the old bridge. There's a house.
Just been there.
Yeah, well, the gentleman in there is a middle-aged gentleman who no doubt had a word with you. He's one of the Guild of Players. Just have a look, and it's the stained glass windows are gorgeous. It's nice. Well, if it's open, it usually is open. There should be volunteers on it.
Love church, it's always helped.
Well, have a look in there if you're going to visit the mausoleum of Burns, because it's worth it. And his pew, well, the pews have changed, but they'll tell you where he actually sat, and so on. And it's been a church on that site for 900 years. I mean, it's a very ancient. Very old river down through. And you pass by the time limits. It's a nice place to have a quiet wander. So,
This is absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. It's quite fascinating.
it is. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's not a bad day, but pretty good actually. I mean, some days are so clear and so bright and it sparkles. Yes.
And so from Camera Obscura to the Robert Burns Centre. Burns knew this tall riverside building with crow-stepped gables as the town mill. Now it houses display on local history and on Scotland's national poet, with attention paid to such episodes in his life as his work in Dumfries as an exciseman. It's a plan of the town centre with the old windmill representing the now Camera Obscura. And in this centre, it was about lunchtime. We'd been on our feet for about 2.5 hours, so we got a nice prawn salad and a cup of tea. Just along from the centre, in a grassy banked field at the side of the river, is this collection of fallow deer. And we're now heading back across the river over this ornate footbridge. To St Michael's Church. Beside this 18th century church with its soaring spire, Robert Burns lies buried in a domed mausoleum built in the Scottish national colours of blue and white. When he died in July 1796, more than 10,000 mourners followed his cortege. And in the churchyard are some massive monuments, so very, very impressive. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And you walk through all these monuments along the path up to the mausoleum. And after a look at the mausoleum, we're going into the church, where June once again gets a personal guided tour.
This is the oldest church in Dumfries. There's been a church on this side for over 1,000 years. And before the first church was built, there was a hospice for pilgrims travelling to and from Candida Casa, founded on the Solway coast by St Ninian in 396. And before that, this mound was used for Druid worship. So we go back a long, long way. There's actually been 3 churches on the site. This one was built between 1741 and 1746. But come inside and I'll tell you more about the place.
We'll do that.
Yes.
Here in St Michael's we only celebrate communion twice a year,
Yes.
but at the time these were in use, once a year was about the maximum. And of course there was maybe a couple of thousand folk clamouring to take communion.
Yes.
So to regulate the traffic, there was a number stamped in the back of the token, and that was the number of the communion service that the member had to attend. But these tokens weren't handed out willy-nilly like we do communion cards today. Before the member got their token, they were questioned on Bible knowledge and church history, and if they couldn't answer the question satisfactorily, they didn't get their token. So there was no communion for them that Sunday.
No.
And these are the numbered dies or combs with which the number was stamped on the back. When you came into the churchyard, you came in between those two big pillars. An elder would sit or stand to receive money gifts for the relief of the poor of the district. I'm told it's pewter, but I think it's just lead, smeared on that gauze there. But it was falling to pieces, so I had it put in this case to preserve it.
Yes. Yes.
Would you like to hold it for me? Heavy.
It is heavy, actually. Yes.
This is a communion bread salver.
Right.
But look how Dumfries is spelled. D-R. And here the vowels are reversed.
Oh, yes.
This is the Gaelic name of our town.
Right.
Gaelic
Yes.
having been spoken here
Yes,
in
that's
the,
right. Yes.
even up to the recent
Yes.
past.
Yes.
And the name Dumfries means the ridge of the thorns. And this second
John's house. This is the parlour where he used to sit with Jean. Through there is the kitchen and scullery where his maid used to work. So it's a sign of his sort of affluence at that time. Up the stairs is the bedrooms and study where he wrote My Love Is Like a Red, Red Rose, the song. And Old Lang Syne as well, he wrote that upstairs also. He lived, it was the last 3 years of his life he spent here, and he also died here. There's still a lot of debate over what he actually died of, but now they think it was endocarditis, a sort of bacterial infection of the heart. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But it was a sort of, it was like a form of angina he had throughout his life as well as a rheumatic fever.
Because that actually is starting to come back, isn't it, a little bit? It's being mentioned actually.
Yeah.
A child died recently, and they think it was that, you know, they thought, oh,
Yeah.
you know, it really is starting to
That's right.
rear its head a little bit, you know,
And I
the
mean,
name
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
disease.
a lot of his, although it was a time when a lot of, you know, infant mortality was high,
Yes.
of his children, I think it was only 3 survived to adulthood.
Yes.
You know, and he had a lot of children, and so, you know, it makes you wonder, perhaps, you know, was it a genetic thing?
Yes.
Quite possible.
Because we've been already to the churchyard and that, you know,
Right.
and I said, oh, I said, look, I didn't realise that the son that was born on the day he died only lived to be 2 years, 9 months old.
That's right, yeah.
And
You can
that's
see
it.
them here. You see them here.
Oh, this is the, oh yeah, this is the...
This is the children he had in his house legitimately. So you see that he had twin girls who both died. This one, just what's that? 14. That's Burns.
Yeah.
William Nichol Burns, he lived on. But she died at 3, Elizabeth.
Now, how many children are there all together? Could I count it?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
7 or 8 that are buried in the tomb. It's 7 or 8, and they couldn't make out whether it's 8 or whether it's 7.
I think there's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 there, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, he's certainly buried in the tomb.
And finally, in Dumfries, after much searching, we found the 17th century Globe Inn, which was Burns' favourite haunt. His favourite chair is still inside, and visitors who choose to sit on it are expected to recite some lines of his verse.